Just because a product costs more doesn't mean it's the right choice for every client. I think one of the biggest mistakes we can make is stocking one price point and expecting that every client will fit into that price point. There's a better way to think about retail and your retail shelves, and I reckon it serves your clients a whole lot better. So let me show you what I mean in today's episode. Chapter 21, getting a grip on your stock control. So everybody gets to choose what they stock, and I understand that. But I do think if you only stock one price in one range, I do think it's a little narrow. I really do. So we've all got a boundary. I'm not asking you to stock something that you don't believe works, or that you compete with something that someone gets in a supermarket. And I'm not asking you that. But I do believe that if you think a person who's not using your $50 cleanser, then I think that maybe could you get your hands on a $30 one? Or if you don't have a $50 one, maybe it's an $80 or $90 one. Could you get your hands on a $40 one? That's all I'm saying. So I do think there's definitely top of the range. There's definitely middle of the range. And then there's definitely an entry level or more affordable. That's it. So sometimes you have forgotten what it's like to pay full whack for something, because when I sold my salon, it was hard to have to pay, and I used to have my colour done and hair extensions, and I wasn't used to that. I'd spent since I was 19 not paying. So that was a bit, ouch. Luckily for me, I've always been generous with the extra work that I do for people, and my clients have always been generous back. Although I did pay full price for something not too long ago, and I did it, but I did think it was a bit, I didn't say anything, but I just thought, okay. It's like mates' rates. My daughter, she's in the medical profession, and she didn't pay for healthcare because doctors' visits and things, because they just look after each other. And I think that perhaps we could look after each other. That's just my opinion, and it's only an opinion, but I do think that there is different levels, and definitely stay within your belief system and what you want to stock, but there could be more than one price range, and I think that would be wise. So sometimes you're out of one, you've got two choices of shampoo. There's this one, which is $48, and there's this one, it's $25. In this case, I don't know that there's a lot of difference, but for other people, you might say, I really do think this one has what you need. So just be honest. And if it doesn't, don't. Let them choose. Some people just want the most expensive one. I always remember my mother-in-law. I took her to buy a washing machine. He goes, which one costs the more? And I said, well, what does it matter, Mum? What do you want to spend? I used to call her Mum, not Mrs. Marinelli or my mother-in-law, because she was like a mum. She was a ripper. And she goes, must be better, cost them more. And I thought, not necessarily. So, but that's what she thought. She said it must be better because it costs more. It was a very simple thinking. And I'm not so sure about that. I think that, like anything, you can have a look at it and test it. Some of the things that I've bought, I think this is amazing. And it's from a place like Kmart or my glasses, for example. You might not agree, but there's a place here in Bali where you can get prescription lenses for about $30. Now, there's a catch. Sometimes you get one and it's a bit like that because it's not your prescription. I don't know whose it is, but it's not yours. So you can take it back, which is a problem when you are not living in Bali. But when you live here, how often do they get it right? Most of the time. But every now and again, oh, sorry, bring back a fix. Yep, and they do. You got to laugh, really. They do it with a smile. So I think that not always the most expensive is the best person's choice. I think it's up to you to help your client to choose. That's what I think. I'll see you in the next one. Chapter 21, Getting a Grip on Stock Control. Being overstocked with retail products is never a clever idea.
But I'd rather your salon was overstocked than understocked. To me, being out of stock screams disorganised. I recently ran out of a foundation I love, and if I'd known how difficult it was to get, I would have bought two. I wasn't aware how common out of stock has become in the hairdressing and beauty world. I tried the first 2 or 3 salons that I knew stocked the brand of my foundation. Both gave me the same sad response. "Oh, I'm sorry, we're out of stock." Rather than go to the trouble of driving around to any more locations, I decided to use my phone. I had to ring 3 other salons that stocked that brand before I found someone with the product I wanted on their shelf. You're probably thinking it must have been an uncommon brand. It wasn't. It was by Bodyography. It comes with an applicator stick, and it's about the 4th one I've had. It's a perfect match to my skin, and I just keep buying it. During the process of trying to source my foundation, I was tempted to just find another product. Those of you who wear foundation know how scary it is to change brands, and I love this one. You need to think about what happens when you get a reputation for not having stock. When I lived in Gisborne, the local hardware store was always out of the things you most wanted. How frustrating. It was a Mitre 10 store, and I nicked it Mitre 2 because it only ever seemed to have 2 items out of 10. How do you solve your stock problems? Simply, order more frequently. With smaller orders, you can manage. There's a big myth around ordering more frequently. Most of you order once a month. For me, that's just way too hard to manage. A big hurdle to leap over when you're compiling the order and also when your delivery arrives. Break it down into more manageable chunks, say under $1,000 worth. It's a good place to start. If that's 2 weeks of retail sales for your salon, great. It might only be 1 week's worth for some of you, and for others, it's just a couple of days. Weekly would be ideal and a logical routine to work into your salon schedule. What about those of you who are just learning to fly? I suggest you think about placing an order every 2 weeks, and here's why. You can keep a better grasp of things. If something's missing that didn't go through your order system, it'll stand out. Someone stealing stock will also stand out. Sad, I know, but it does happen. With a sound and regular stock ordering plan in place, you won't ever overspend and you'll always know exactly what's going on. You should have your retail stock level set to suit your salon demands and then just replace what you've sold. Your back-end stock use is different and you'll likely need some help with figuring out a good system. We have a fabulous one. There are some guidelines you can stick to once you've crunched a few numbers. It's also worth setting up a direct debit every week to your product company for your average spend. You should be aiming to be an A-grade client. See Chapter 18. So if you ever need a favour, you can fall back on your great relationship with your product company. Paying your account on time and never falling behind is certainly A-grade client behaviour. Some salons are so influenced by the freight charges. You'd think they're prepping for an outbreak of war. They buy so much stock. Not wanting to pay freight is petty, and having thousands of dollars tied up on your shelves is just pure madness. I'll show you what I mean. Do this little sum for me, and I bet you'll find that you can reduce your retail stock by 80 products. All of the product lines you are carrying 3 or 4 units of and selling almost none of. Change those stock levels to 2 units. Now, look at the product lines you do sell and that you sell often. If you sell 4 each week, then you need to have 20 at the start of the month. You can't put them all out on display, so you have other spots where you must store them, right? Far too hard is my opinion. Far too hard. Only have what sits out the front on your display shelf. If you were to order every 2 weeks and with, say, 80 fewer products hanging around, then this is what you'd have. Say a product is $18 at cost. So 80 of them cost you $1,440. That's money sitting on your product shelf doing nothing. Couldn't you better use those dollars to pay down a credit card or sit on your home loan in redraw? Either would be an improvement rather than sitting on your shelf just fading in the sun. If instead of the monthly, you ordered every 2 weeks and paid between $15 to $25 in freight, you'd be placing 26 more orders a year, and that is an additional cost somewhere between $390, that's all, up to maybe $780 at best. And yes, some of you will be paying more in freight, and some will have way more than 80 products lolling around doing nothing other than sunbaking under your lighting, waiting for their turn to go home with the client. My point is, be stocked properly, but make sure you're not overdoing it or underdoing it. Find your Goldilocks of retail. This is just right, it's not too little, it's not too much. So important. Good reps will help you with this. Your stock presentation is crucial. I've seen some exceptional whiz-bang stock merchandising, and I've seen the old train wreck too. For inspiration, think of the lovely Aesop stores. Elegant, simple displays that are very consumer friendly. That's where you need to aim. If you haven't been inside one of these Aesop stores, put it on your to-do list. Your clients expect top-notch attention to detail when it comes to retail displays, especially for high-end products. I know I've been put off a purchase by the dust or fade on a product box. If it's sat there long enough to gather dust or fade, I get to wondering about why no one else wants this product. It's much less desirable to me. Something to watch if your product shelves get direct light. Some high-end beauty products aren't even stored on the general shelf, as the light can affect how well they work. That and the fact that they're often priced around $150 each, so best kept where they can be counted. Perhaps you can just keep one of each on display. I've seen that work and work well. Do whatever you need to do. Just do it well. Make sure every product is clearly marked with the correct price. There is nothing worse than a team member fumbling around in front of the client trying to work out what an item retails for. It's ridiculous. A challenge just for hair salons. This one doesn't actually relate to beauty. It's a challenge just for hair salon owners. I love when you stock great products and also commit to using them at the basin. If you don't, you're sending your clients mixed messages. Some people, no matter how much money they have, would never buy a $45 shampoo or a $45 conditioner. I saw this firsthand. One year I gave my sister a shampoo and a conditioner gift pack for her birthday. Without realising, I'd left the price sticker on the bottom. When she screamed, "Holy shit!" from the bathroom, I ran in asking, "Are you okay?" "This shampoo pack retails for $90, she said. Some people must have way too much money. I wish I'd known earlier. I would have sold it on eBay before I opened it. She is hilarious. But it made me think about what people place value on and how we just take it for granted that we never have to pay full whack for our own. Just use it and enjoy it, I told her. You paid nothing. It was a gift, remember? She did, and she absolutely loved it. There's no way she would have purchased that product with her own money. No way. She had no complaints with what she had already been using, and she'd never experienced the difference. Sadly, most of our clients are just like my sister. You need to win their trust, and then they'll listen to your advice. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. We as professionals, we know so much about our clients, so much more about our clients and what products will bring them the most benefits. The products that will solve their hair problems, we know this. If you care about your clients, you will share the secrets that we just take for granted. Most people don't realise how concentrated a salon strength product is. I'm using a cleanser now that is so concentrated, I use an amount half the size of a pea, and that's usually too much. People need education on more than one level. Like many salon owners, you're probably pulling your hair out over your basin stock. How do you stop your team routinely pumping out 2 pumps at the basin and wasting huge amounts of product? Understand that they don't know any better until you explain their zealous pumping frenzy is just making the product company richer. Tell them their loyalty is better placed closer to home, to you. I've seen salon owners stretch rubber bands around the pump to stop a full pump, only to find team members pumping 4 times every time. Instead, your team should care about you and go out of their way not to be wasteful. And care is the best way I know to solve a problem. Teach your team to care enough to show the client the correct amount of product to use. Doing that every time not only shares knowledge and it educates clients, it also reduces product waste. Tell your team the facts. Because you're all heavy-handed, I must replace an average 4 of these 1 litre basin stocks every 3 weeks. At $40 a litre, that's $160. Go deeper and explain that over a year, you do that 17 times for a total spend of $2,720. If you didn't double pump, I'd likely to spend half of that, saving myself $1,360. Imagine the results in your salon if you put those savings towards education for your team. And you know what? Of course, your salon will be different. Simply substitute your own figures in the above conversation. If you take the time to explain the facts to your team members, you'll discover they actually do care and they'll be glad to change their behaviour to help you and your clients out. Your other option is to use a more affordable shampoo at the basin. Some clients are never going to purchase a high-end product from you. If you have a conversation during the consultation about what they're already using, you'll know what option to take when you get to the basin. I met a salon owner once who insisted his team always did the first shampoo with a deep cleanse shampoo. He believed it was like a primer, and everybody got this first. It was one of those no-name brands sourced from a salon supplier. Yeah, maybe that's taking it too far, but if you can't get your team to respect the products you supply them with, then it could be a valid option. You need at least 2 price points when it comes to what you do stock. It's better for your client to get your recommendations at every price point. You and I both know that your clients would be better off with a higher end product. But you must respect that it's actually your client's choice. Remember that the markup is the same at any price point, and you having their business is always better than Coles having it. There is a cafe here in Melbourne's famous Queen Victoria Market that only makes coffee using full cream milk. I was outraged when I asked for a soy and I was told with a very smug voice, we don't do soy. It was as though they were happy to say that they didn't do soy. I was reminded of that sketch in the English sitcom Little Britain where, I can't remember his name, but she said, computer says no. The cafe always seems to be busy, but I can't help imagining how much busier they'd be if they offered skinny milk and soy milk too. Really? I know, some people don't agree with me. They're sold on just the one range and the one price point, and that's all they stock. If their clients don't like it, then it's just too bad. For me, that means problems not solved and the sale is not made. The bottom line is it is your salon and you can't be everything to everyone. So you do get to decide where you draw the line. Just want you to think a little bit wider. Kick-ass Kickstarter. Do you have any double pumpers on your team? Sure you do. There's only one way to be sure. Consciously keep an eye on your team at the basin for the next few days or so and see if you see the problem. Then you'll know what you're dealing with.